Hi guys. Well, today, before we start looking at the transits that still have like 24 hours, I think, until the sun changes, before this we have a major change that happens in a few hours, and this is the shift of the nodes. And it's true that we are going to say goodbye to the quarter of duality, but we are getting a very, very sticky relationship-flavored nodes for the next 2 months. And yes, the 4037, the channel of community, is going to be in our nodes. Yes, in a few hours. And, you know, this is a very sticky channel, especially in the way that the not self interpret and affected by it. And it is going to be a global conditioning pattern, of course, so we are going to feel it. It's kind of, it's a little taste of what a background frequency does to us. I mean, the nodes are the closest thing to global cycles. So it's true that we have a huge effect and conditioning that we don't even understand the depth of it from the global cycle, from this channel. But also when it is in the nodes, we can feel the difference. I mean, those of us who are in the experiment for a few years and their aura is sensitive and they respect their design, we feel this background frequency. It doesn't mean that we are acting upon it, but we feel it. And of course, the reflection of the not self surroundings that takes this conditioning very deeply and is affected by it. So it's going to be an interesting 2 months of stickiness of the channel of community, and we all know what it does, so I'm not going to speak about it, just going to emphasize that, of course, all the people that these two centers, the heart and the solar plexus, are open, are going to need to be very cautious and alert. And for alertness, we are going to have the coming to meet gate. Well, we are going to celebrate the end of the quarter of duality. And the gate that helps us to celebrate is the 44th gate, coming to meet. And yes, and this is also the gate of alertness, so it will help us to be alert, not to fall into the trap of the channel of community. Well, let us hope. So we are going to experience 2 ways of the cross of the 4 ways. We're going to experience the combination of the 44th, the gate of alertness, and the 24th, the gate of returning. And they are part of the cross of the 4 ways, and then they change to the juxtaposition cross of alertness, and then, of course, the cross of incarnation, this very, very strange and unique cross. I have 2 good friends that have their birthday this week. One is a 2-4 sweet manifester that has the sun in the 44th, and the other one is a very interesting mental projector who has the 5-2 profile in the cross of incarnation. So both of you, happy birthday, and and this presentation is with a lot of thought about you. So the gate of alertness, coming to meet. The success of any interaction is based on the absence of any preconditions. Now this, I never really got it, you know. This project I'm doing is really helping me to dive very deeply into the gates, and I even don't share with you everything that I understand, because this is not a course, but I dived into it. I got some understandings, and the biggest one was really to think about what it is the quarter of duality, and coming to meet is the way of the quarter of duality. And here it is, the success of any interaction is based on the absence of any preconditions. Now we know that this is the gate of the spleen that instinctively looks at the ego and has to deal with it. It's coming to meet the ego and it needs to deal with it. And that means that we can't deal with the other, no matter what other this is, if we have preconditions. And this sums up actually the new relationships, the nine-centered relationships, because as we spoke all these months about duality and relationship, all these quarter, yes, 3 months that we were talking about it, we saw that the new relationships can't be based on expectations, conditions, ideas, opinions. It can't be based on it. Relationship is something very unique that happens between two unique people. So first of all, there is no relationship that resembles the other. They can't be the same, no matter what, even though I'm actually the same and I meet another person. But the minute I'm involved with another aura, I'm changing and the other aura changes, and we have something in common that creates a third thing that nobody else does with me, yes, and so on. So we can't approach an interaction or a relationship with preconditions. And the problem with us is that we do, because we are conditioned and we are full of expectations, and we have all these ideas about what a relationship is that were hammered into us and into our parents. And if we talk about background frequency, so we have this sticky tribal idea of relationship which doesn't really suit anyone, and it is hammering us and conditioning us for centuries. So what happened is that we come with preconditions, and then that's why we can't handle the ego of the other, but we can't handle ourselves, and it can't work. It just can't work. So I'm looking at it, and I really appreciate this gate suddenly to see how this splenic awareness wants to be in the now and look at the other and smell the other. This is the gate of the nose. Smell the other, have this alertness, and know how to deal with the other in the moment. So of course, not all of us have this, but we have other tools. Everyone has in their design strategy and authority that these are the tools to come to meet the other in the proper and correct way for each and every one of us. So this coming to meet, as I said, is the tribal instinct, the smelling instinct of the interaction of the ego of the other, and it holds in it the fear of the past, the fear that the past will repeat itself. It's a very deep fear, and of course it has the roots. This fear has its roots in the surviving fear, the surviving of the species fear, that we need to be alert that the species will survive. And of course, this is part of the stream of instinct, which is the material stream of the tribe. And it is also a part of the channel of surrender. We will talk about this soon, which is the channel of surrender is the mirror of the channel of community, another social tribal channel on the material aspect of it. So this is the gate of alertness. When the sun sits in this gate in an open spleen, or not only the sun, every other planet, yes, or activation is in the open spleen, then there is this trap that we can fall into to be spontaneous and use this intuition that is that it comes to us. This instinct and intuition comes to us only when the spleen is conditioned by the program or by somebody else. And of course, there will be always the danger, I looked for the word, the danger to be, to release things from our lives that we don't need to release. Yes, this is the place where it happens, the 44th gate. It can be, it can feel okay now. I have the instinct. I know how to deal with the ego. I know how to survive, and that's why I'm letting go of things that I actually need in my life. And of course, there's the danger to be attached to people that make us feel good and help us with the fear of the past and the fear of approaching the ego in front of us. So the open spleen is a trap, is a deep trap. I know, I feel it. But as time goes by in my experiment, the picture gets clearer and clearer. But still, this spleen is like really a black hole of conditioning, and it takes time and a lot of strategy and authority practicing in order to really not to hold on situation and people that are not good for me, and and not to release too early things that are good for me. It's an ongoing process of learning to be alert. The 24th gate, the gate of rationalizing, this is the gate of returning the natural and spontaneous process of transformation and renewal. This is a gate in the Ajna center, and we can see that the whole channel is defined in the transit as a global conditioning pattern because of the 61st gate that is activated by Mars. It's very interesting because this channel is the channel of awareness, a design of a thinker. It's it's the individual mental channel, and it's one of the channels of potential madness. Yeah, and here the pressure of the 61, the pressure to know the unknown, to understand the mystery, to solve the mystery, pressures on this gate of returning. And this is an individual thinking process, which means it's an acoustic process. And the 24th gate has the role of making these mutative thoughts, or this mystery inspiration that comes to it. First of all, checking whatever comes from it, from the 61 comes to it, check it, return again and again, and check again and again what is really worth processing into something which is rational and can be transferred to or transmitted to the collective. And that's why the next channel that comes after this, in this mental stream, after the channel of awareness, is the channel of structuring, that needs to structure the explanation of this very acoustic, mutative, innovative thinking into something that others would understand. So the design of a thinker, of course, can think and process, and also can come to a point of banging their head on the ground because there are mysteries that can't be solved, and the pulse is not always there, and the melancholic pressure of the 61 can drive us crazy. So this is not an easy channel, of course. Again, all the channels from the head to the ajna are not easy when we believe everything that happens there, when we identify, and when we think that this mystery solving or doubt or confusion solving is going to help us in our lives. That's the catch. So, and the gate of returning is also, the name returning is also the way of the quarter of initiation. which it belongs to it. Yes, so the way of returning is the return of the witness into the flesh. Yes, the returning. So the 44th is coming to meat, and the returning is coming back to the meat, to the flesh, reincarnating or incarnating again. And that's why these two gates also belong to the cross of incarnation, the left angle cross of incarnation. These people are very unique people. They have this flavor of this not from here energy, and they usually recognize the karmic relationship they have with people, or they can feel that they have seen this, the deja vu effect. I know one, and she's a really unique person, and she has this unusual energy, so it's interesting. And I'm sure that I belong to her karma somehow, but I'm a 2-4, so, I don't know, and I don't give a damn, but she feels it. And I think she even told me this way or another, that she feels that I'm familiar, or that the connection between us is understood to her. Well, interesting. And in the 1st of November, we are going to surrender with a channel of surrender, a design of a transmitter. Again, the mirror of the social, it's the splenic side, the splenic mirror of the channel of community. This is the material social channel of the tribe. This is the channel that can sell everything to everyone. This alertness of the ego is the alertness of the spleen takes the ego actually surrenders to the splenic awareness and knows how to present the stuff they want to sell in the best way, and adjust to the audience that listens. Interesting channel, and let's see how we are going to be socialized in the community and sell each other whatever we want to sell. And all this with being pressured to understand the unknowable, to know the unknowable. And it's interesting because these these 3 channels are very, this is a very strong definition with 3 awareness centers defined. So let's experience it and see how it goes. The 4th of November, Mars is going to release the gate of mystery in the head and get into the gate of limitation in the root center. And, this is one of my favorite gates. The acceptance of limitation is the first step in transcendence. So yes, we are going to be so full of social connectivity and transmitting and surrendering and having all this ego stuff. We really have to remember that our limitation is our design, and we don't need to succumb to all these splenic ego emotional pressures. And the last thing that happens is that in the 4th of November, the nodes already shift from the 6th line to the 5th line. They go in the other direction as all the other planets. And we are going to have this interesting line, the 37th in the 5th line. This is it is called love. And the detriment of it is how emotional dependency turns love into hate. Very, very interesting gate, and I see how it operates in people. Very, very interesting. The 40th gate in the 5th line is rigidity. It's about the ego rejecting relationships which are not good for it, and the value of being alone when it's correct, and of course when it doesn't know to do this. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of projections about this too, because this is the 5th line. So that's it. We came to the end of the quarter of duality. And in order really to succeed in our interactions and relationships, we really need to come to meet without preconditions, but we need to know who we are. And this is actually the precondition. We need to know who we are. We need to know how we operate correctly and be very, very careful not to be drawn into relationships or interactions that have not reached us according to our strategy, because our strategy actually is the main thing that can protect our relationship, protect our interactions, protect our place in the community, everything. The strategy is 90% miraculous tool, or how do you call it? Preventing medicine, yes, preventing medicine, in order to be sure that things that are not for us wouldn't be in our lives. So 90% of it is being locked in our strategy. And then for the rest 10%, we have our inner authority that we navigate with it in every decision that we come in our way. We come to this I see decisions as T-junction. You come to a T-junction and you need to know if you go left or right, and this we don't need to decide. We don't need to have the pressure to know the unknown or the confusion or the doubt about are we turning left or right. We have our inner authority or our decision-making process, and most of these authorities need time, or at least half of them need time, and situations with other people need time. So all this protects us and navigates us. And of course, the last thing, but the most important one, is sleeping alone in order to preserve our uniqueness in the relationship, preserve our sexual attraction, preserve our individuality and health, even physical health. So that's the way we can come to meet in the correct way. And next week we are going to roll with the wheel to the next quarter, the quarter of transformation. The wheel keeps turning and we will keep turning with it. So see you next week in the quarter of transformation. Bye-bye.